All right, Mick. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Taped Podcast, the most synthy podcast in the world. We are your hosts, myself,
And
Can we-
Michał. Louis, introduce yourself.
Hi.
Louis has been replaced by Cyborg.
All right, so today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be sticking to the same formula: 4 albums, 3 new ones, a classic. Today's albums that we're going to be talking about is Mystic Familiar by Deacon, Father
of Assad,
Father of All Motherfuckers by Green Day, aka DJ Khaled, Father of Assad. Have We Met by Destroyer. And the classic, Illmatic by Nas.
Production value has really gone up.
This is derailing. Louis is derailing the podcast.
We've won.
Okay, which album were you going to start with first?
I don't know.
I don't
you
care.
always decide.
Green Day would be a good one to start with, boys.
Alright.
Do you know what? Yeah, we'll fly through Green Day because I don't want to talk about that album at all.
Neither.
Let's just talk about it for longer than the album really is.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll pull an Eminem, right? We'll just talk about the worst one the most, and give no any time or praise to the really good ones out of these selections. As we normally do.
All right, so let's kick it off with Father of All Motherfuckers by Green Day.
I didn't really write much of an introduction to this one because I forgot that it's Green Day. I think everyone knows Green Day, for better or for worse.
Yep.
And
Green Day is a band from America. They made 2 good albums and then did nothing of note. There you go.
I mean,
there you go.
it's
Debatable.
debatable, but fuck me, it's their 13th studio album.
And they should probably learn they're 50 years of age. Their demographic is either dead, decomposing, or very old.
Bro, the rollout for this album was the most boomerish thing I've ever seen in my life.
Once again, no Swedish music writers.
No trap beats.
No trap beats.
I'm pretty sure
100% uncut.
Rock.
I see a Reddit post, and I'm pretty sure if you image search Swedish producers, the album cover comes up.
Yes.
Okay, let's without wasting any more time, let's just get into it.
Track 1, Father of All.
This one, it's not standout. It's just okay at best. Instrumentation is decent enough, I suppose. It's played well. Vocally, it's nothing really special from Billy Joe, and I have nothing else to say. That's all I have to say in my notes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not far from the worst track. I'd say. I like the drumming on this track, aside from the annoying fucking over every single track, almost every single track on this. It's so fucking pointless.
It's so annoying.
I mean, the guitar's kind of so. I wouldn't even go as far as praise it. And Billy Joe's vocals, I don't think, are very good on this.
It's the most bearable song of the whole album.
I'd say at least it's somewhat catchy. It's not.
I guess it's alright that it comes first, because you can just listen to that and say, "Oh, I've just Father of All album," because that's the first track, and it's the same name as the album, right? Done. You don't have to listen to it anymore. Everything else is a B-side.
I mean, I don't think it's my favorite. Well, favorite's a bit of a strong word.
Yeah, that really is.
Yeah, I'd agree. But it's not the least terrible track on the album.
Yeah, that would be how I'd put it, yeah.
Yeah.
Scores?
5.
6.
10.
3. 10. Just...
Alright, Fire Ready Aim, track 2.
This one is kind of... similar to the last track, it's just okay. Like the song, it's very short. The instrumental is okay. The vocals are not standout at all. It's just standard Green Day, you could say.
Once again, I
It's
think
incredibly samey.
the drums are on this were pretty good once again, but once again they're fucking covered with these fucking annoying clapping samples, and I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. Other than that, I mean, I don't think Billy Joe's vocals do this style of music much justice at all. I think they're more better suited for the punk they were making. The song is definitely less catchy than the first, more over the place. And overall, it's definitely worse, I'd say.
Yes. In my notes, I put down this song would pair really well with a car advertisement, and that's about it.
I thought you were going to say car crash.
No.
No, it would pair well with an RSC advertisement.
The man in the car is listening to Green Day. That's what's caused him to crash.
No, just as the crash is going on, like the song plays and it's all in slow motion in the car.
It's that one child safety video, surely you've seen it, where it's like a Volkswagen's on the road and it crashes through a bush into it.
I remember that.
Children, yeah.
Oh, I remember
that was
the stock sound effect
ad or something.
The stock sound effect of the screaming as well.
What was that an ad for? Was that
I think it was for road safety, like don't listen to music in your car. I
actually thought it was a car ad.
I don't know. I don't think. Some car ad. Yeah, look at our car. It can roll through bushes and sustain minimum damage while running over small children. Hell yeah.
Okay, we're getting a bit off track here. So let's just score the song and move on.
God, it was a 4 for me.
It was a 5 for me.
2.
Next track. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I like the tone of the guitar, but I'm pretty sure I've heard this riff in like 20 different songs in my lifetime.
Like I've said before, this is just another typical kind of Green Day song. Again,
modern day Green Day.
Well, modern day Green Day. Like it's not stand out at all instrumentally and vocally. Again, it's just okay. Like it's standard.
Yeah, I think it's
the chanting in the chorus just kind of lowers the momentum of the track as well, which kind of lowered the score for me.
I do think the vocal style suits Billy Joe's vocals a lot more on this one, but I think it's a decent track. It didn't really explore much new territory in any sense of the word.
Inoffensive and very boring. So I think it's stock standard kind of pop rock almost.
Right, awful or bad.
No, it's just inoffensive.
It's fine. I think it's fine.
Exactly.
I wouldn't go. That finds very, 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 very strong words in this regard.
It's hard to be too critical about this album because
they are 50 years of age and probably have dementia.
What are they going to do? More angsty teen?
No,
I hate my parents' music.
But I mean, complimentary Radiohead's reference, but. I mean, they went from angsty, I'm a crep, I hate vegetables, to, everything, they did it. They successfully made the move from young retards to incredibly talented old musicians.
Yeah, but
they haven't done that. Yeah, neither one's Radiohead. Well, shut up, is what I'd say to that. Use them as an example. That's how
honestly, good a band in their career, I think they should just...
Give up.
Either if they're not going to call it quits, just do whatever the fuck they want.
They should have called it quits when they were on top.
I'll say this: I'm a lot happier with this album than I would have been with a cringy fucking teen angst album.
50-year-old men talking about teen angst.
Yeah,
okay,
they're not trying to appeal to the same audience they made in the 90s.
Yeah,
they're just doing whatever the fuck they want. And I suppose that's admirable at least, but it's not very good.
Okay, scores. Oh, never mind. Go ahead, Louis.
Nah, it's fine. I'll say this at the end of the whole thing.
Okay. I gave it a 5 too.
It got a 2 from me.
All right.
Meet me on the roof.
This track, I wasn't. Again, same as the previous tracks. It's just okay. It's not
It's-
good. It's
What
not
the f-
good. It's just
So shit. I'm sorry.
What is
I hate
with
this
your
one
obsession
the
with the-
worst.
The clapping. It's on
I
every
don't
track.
know.
I don't get
It's
it.
just
It's
so
really weird.
it just
have
makes
a
it come
genuine-
off as inauthentic and fucking generic as shit as
They
well.
genuinely have a really talented drummer. Probably too good for the band at this point. I don't know
Oh,
why
God.
they have to dub over the drums with the fucking holy shit. The voice on this is mixed really weird as well.
Yeah,
Vocals.
yeah. The
I-
mixing was very off.
Yeah.
I'd say this is my least favorite track on the whole thing. It's just so kind of poppy. I hate the guitar tone on it, and I think the chord progression is just, basic. Ha ha, happy pop, ha ha. Like, it niggles at my brain and pokes me in the wrong ways. It's really annoying.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think it's the worst on the album. I wouldn't say that, but it's just
I don't think it's the
completely
worst.
unmemorable.
I don't think it's the worst either. It's just passable.
ratings. I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4 as well.
I gave it a 1. I feel like I'm always the one that's like really harsh in comparison to you lot. I think you're too nice.
I mean, I'll be harsh when I need to be, but I'm always open
generally
to
harsh.
Pussies.
I try
Next
not to be
track.
too positive, and I try not to be too harsh because like this is better than a lot of stuff out there. Still,
I'd neglect to
like
say
the
that.
new fucking
I mean,
Cassette album or some
it's-
shit.
Well, who does that?
to be
I
fair,
had to.
to be fair,
you
there
have
were-
to, 'cause you hate yourself.
okay.
Excuse
Moving
me.
on. Next track.
I was a teenager. I don't know what.
That title isn't.
This is the
Honestly,
most
like,
average track on the album.
I'll say this: I really like the bass on this track, but
It's
once
look,
again,
it's
not
performed.
mixed well.
It's
Billy Joe's
performed
vocals
well,
are-
in my opinion, but it's just another average track. Like nothing.
Billy Joe's vocals are mixed so weird on this as well. I don't know what,
Yeah.
what they're trying to
Their
go for.
production quality is just so bad. It's a bit funny.
But I do think
Praise the
that
album, but not
Yeah.
by much because the music itself is just so kind of bland and boring. I mean, you know what I mean.
it's definitely not produced well, but I do think that the bass and drum are pretty good on this track. And I mean, kind of save it for me. I would say this is my favorite on the album. But
I
would
not say that.
for the vocals and guitar, really.
It's just mid tier. It's just such a mid song in general.
Yeah, but this album is a fucking mid tier.
Everything about this album is mid tier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I gave
rating.
this track a 5.
I gave it my only 6.
Well, got a 3.
Stab You in the Heart. This song, holy shit.
This is awful. This is the worst song of the whole
Did
album.
anyone else put this in their notes?
It's very,
That they would rather
I
get
put it
stabbed in the heart.
very
than
bad.
listen to it again.
Yeah, actually, I wrote down in my notes, end it now, I would much rather be stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, dude, this sounds
Actually
like
wanted to be stabbed in the heart was my note.
This is like
yeah,
some...
same with mine.
This is
I
like
think
some
everyone
type-
just wanted to kill themselves listening to this.
No, honestly, this song is if you took Billy Ray Cyrus's "Icky Breaky Heart" and then put it over Johnny Be Good, and then made a really crap punk version of it, this is a song you'd get.
It's literally like a hillbilly punk song. It's
Yeah.
so trash.
Yeah. And you know what I hear in the background of it as well, lads?
Of course,
Fucking
I'm not even gonna
nothing-
comment on
nothing
that. It's on
different.
every track almost.
This
Just
is
get rid of the drummer, have the only percussion be someone clapping their hands.
literally... like, this is some fucking... This is just terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
I gave this a 3.
I gave it a 2.
Got a 1.
Sugar Youth.
This
Um,
one, I thought it was, again, like more or less nondescript and non-standout than the previous tracks.
Hmm.
But it's too short and it's just painfully average.
Yeah, once again, I do like the bass on this. I think it's mixed pretty well. I think this is the only track on the album where I kind of thought Billy Joe's vocals were passable. Like I just thought the song itself was just a bit poorly written. It was okay guitar and drums. Bass really stood out. Vocals were okay, but the song itself came together a bit sloppily for me.
It's just fine. It sounds more like, older Green Day than any other track on the album, I think. But I mean,
think,
it really doesn't come close to the best or the worst, even the worst tracks on those albums.
Yeah, honestly,
I can agree. I can agree.
Yeah. Ratings
5.
3.
Junkies
on a high. Woo!
Woo! Represent.
Like this track overall is like more stripped back, and it relies more heavily on Billie Joe's vocals, which, as we all know, on this album do not sound good whatsoever. So
exactly,
that is a good thing.
Plus, it's another very mid track. It's very, very boring. I was willing to tap out at this point. Like,
random high pitched vocals take away more from the song than they add. It's so annoying.
Yep.
I don't know what they were thinking when they made this album.
They're thinking we're old. We can capitalize on our namesake. Fine.
Thinking, how do we make an album without any Swedish producers or trap beats?
And this is what happened.
Get these Swedish people out of our studio.
They realized who Young Lean was, and they didn't want to go near him. But this track,
2 years, they'll be collabing with fucking Young Lean. Watch it happen.
Oh, bro, I kind of dread that because, as I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Young Lean either.
I'm not the biggest fan of Young Man either. Yeah,
Young Man.
Young Man.
Young guy.
This ratings, right? 3.
4.
3.
Take the money and crawl.
Take the money, run and take the money.
This was my favorite track in the album, I would say.
I mean, I do overall quite enjoy the energy of this track, but the vocals are fucking hell, they're awful.
Yeah, the vocals bring this track down a lot for me, but I do like the energy of this track, and I think it's played very well.
The guitars definitely stand out in this one. In comparison to the other ones, it's a lot better.
Yeah, I think instrumentally it's a lot better, but the vocals just ruin any enjoyment the song could have.
Literally.
Up until the moment the vocals hit, you're like, okay, this is promising. It might, turn out pretty okay. No.
Billy Joe, why?
Why would you do this?
Why would you do this, Billy Joe?
Come on, just give it a rating. Let's get this album done. It's
6.
Yeah, please. 3.
Graffiti. I don't know how to pronounce that. Come on.
Graffiti. Graphic images.
Once again, I think this is a really good bass performance from Mike Dirnt, but they're back at it with the fucking clapping. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Christ.
This track literally sounds like American Idiot Abortion, and I don't even like that album.
This is supposed to be a sequel to American Idiot.
This is awful.
American Dad.
Good morning, USA.
No, I meant this joke. Please stop.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Much like this album.
Thank you, fucking Lord.
The song was another 3 for me.
5.
2.
Okay, overall ratings.
Boomer energy.
Boomer.
Fucking 2.5. I wonder if any people nowadays actually realize who Green Day are.
I doubt it.
Because,
No, they're still pretty big, but not their new stuff.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
you still hear
anyone listen to this
on the radio?
I gave this album overall a 4. I thought it was just nondescript. It was mixed horribly, especially Billie Joe's vocals. It's okay. Like, it's what you'd expect from a 50-year-old band. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I gave it a light 4, and yeah, as you said, I really can't say I'm surprised or disappointed that this is as bad as it is. The Fantana rating I think was a bit harsh.
I mean, I thought it was funny.
One of the worst things ever released. I just think it's
bad.
Completely irrelevant.
Well, I mean, I thought it was pretty funny, him giving it a 0 and going in on this album.
It's funny.
It's always funny to watch Fantano shit on an album.
Yeah.
Basically telling them to just stop making music because this is a disgrace. And in that respect, yeah, he's right. This is a terrible album made by a band that has made good albums in the past. They should probably stop. I mean, you've got a good enough image.
I don't think they'll stop.
Well, I mean, their image is kind of being tainted at the moment because of how boomerish they're coming off as. It's like, you see they like performed like an opening for like the NHL or something like that. They were told not to swear during their song, but they just swore anyway.
Well, I don't care about that. You should be allowed to swear, for fuck's sake.
Well, I mean,
not on TV.
I mean, yeah, it was national television.
Yeah, bro. Oh, the kids are going to learn swear words.
It's like they tried to pull it like a Nirvana. You know that story about Nirvana at the Top of the Pops?
Yeah, not singing. Like they were like just acting like retards. And I think if I remember right, Kirsten Novoselic had like a guitar, and then fucking Dave Grohl had a bass or something.
No, they were just like Chris Novoselic was just swinging his bass around in the air. Kurt was singing in like a fucking deep voice. Load of bone guns, and then like Dave Grohl was just smashing random drums. Because do you know that story, Michael? Because they were told they had to play.
I heard that story before. Yeah.
So they just, I think this was the energy that Green Day were trying to go for, but they just came off as a bit annoying.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should just move on to the next album.
Yeah, let's get this away from my screen.
Yeah, no, never mind. We have everyone's ratings. Yeah.
Yeah.
We gave it a 2.5. I give it a light 4. Michael.
I gave it a light decent 4.
Yes.
I think we should move on. All right, let's move on to Destroyer.
Love that as our what do we call it?
Transition.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So yeah,
all right.
Destroyer.
Let's go with Destroyer.
Destroyer are an indie rock band from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Fronted by singer-songwriter Dan Bejar, and Have We Met is their 12th studio album.
This is the first Destroyer album I've listened to.
That would be the same for me.
I can't say the same.
Okay.
All right, let's just open this up. The Crimson Tide.
Okay.
I do like the instrumental in this a bit. It's a nice groovy, little more low key one, and I like the song from a lyrical standpoint. I do like the performance from Dan Bejar as well. There's a lot of charisma and character in it. Pretty good.
Instrumentally, I thought it was pretty decent.
It's solid instrumentally.
Yeah, but the thing that kind of dragged down for me was that's what I was meant to say. The vocals just
I don't like the vocals in this.
I don't know, the vocals felt very weird to me. No offense to the lead singer, but I did not like his vocals on this track. I felt they were very flat and like weird. Like I didn't really like him that much.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know how you would even describe his voice. It's like
ghostly.
What would you say? Maybe, yeah. Ghostly and kind of not trying.
Ratings for track 1?
I gave it a 7.
It's just 5.
I gave it an 8.
What?
It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Kind of dark.
I thought instrumentally this one was very good as well. The guitar solo was really nice on this one.
Yeah.
But again, it vocally and lyrically, nothing really stood out to me that much. Again, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the guy's vocals that much.
Yeah, they're pretty weak.
I like the transition from the previous track into this one. And I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the song for me. I just don't think it was very interesting. Certainly not as interesting as the first track.
His voice kind of just sounds out of place, if not out of place, and out of tune with the rest of the song. If you know what I kind of mean, the tone doesn't seem the same at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. His vocals are too just kind of airy. They don't really make an impact on the song at all. I think the whole album itself would have done better just to be an instrumental.
Oh, jeez.
It would kind of work well. I feel like it disjoints the whole song having him speak.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't want to give final opinions yet.
I won't give final opinions either. We'll just
This is
score this and move on.
It's just I'm so bored of this album even talking about it. It's just I have to let it out, man.
All right, I gave this one a 7.
Give it a 5.
Give it a 4.
It just doesn't happen. I think this is my favorite track in the album. I like the instrumental. It's like really dark, but somehow still pretty fun. I do like the lyrics from Beja. They're very catchy, tongue in cheek. Speaking Chinese here, tongue in cheek.
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I do think. It's my favorite track.
Okay, we have to cut that out now.
No.
Oh no.
Nick's been racist.
Cheech and Chong.
You can't be racist. Stop that.
I'm not being racist, but okay.
Stop being racist.
All right, continue.
Right,
Mia.
let's move on. Mick loves Chinese people. Can we move on? No racism involved.
This is a synth pop crap piece, and I don't like it. One of my favorite tracks on the album. It just doesn't appeal to me, to be honest.
I thought this one was just okay. Production-wise and vocally, it was pretty decent, but I just felt it was kind of boring and dragged on for a bit. It made it seem like longer than it actually was.
Ratings?
6.
4.
8.
Next track?
Television Music Man, or Supervisor. Yeah.
Supervisor.
It's just the same. I have the same opinions on this track as the last one. I thought vocally and instrumentally it was decent. It was okay. But again, I was just bored of this track about halfway through it.
Yeah, I'd say the same. It is just not very appealing to me in general. I don't like this. I don't even know what you call this genre, to be quite honest.
Indie pop.
I guess.
Indie synth art pop. There we go.
It's a great name for it, to be honest. But it's just not appealing. It's very boring. It takes too long to get to the main kind of, bits. And the bits beforehand are just kind of.
Yeah, it's a more dark and ominous track in my opinion. The instrumental and vocals are both pretty quiet in this. The vocals are almost spoken word, but I think this leaves a lot to it doesn't have much here that will really hold my attention or have me coming back. It is one of the weaker tracks in my opinion.
Scores?
This album's making it hard for me to talk for some reason, dude. It's giving me brain
it's boring.
6.
5.
5.
The Raven. I thought this track had a nice atmosphere. I still thought that the atmosphere carried, but I thought vocally and instrumentally, again, it was just okay, not really that interesting.
Yeah, I think it was more lively than the last track, and I think both instrumentally and vocally and lyrically, I think it would have been a bit better, but I still wouldn't say it's one of the highlights for me.
Yeah, again, it's just kind of boring. I don't like the piano on this one bit. It just kind of doesn't feel like it is in place, or it feels out of place. Same with the vocals. Again, I mean, there's just nothing to talk about on barely any of these songs, man. It's just boring. Don't like the instrumentation. Don't like the vocals, and that's that.
All right, Ray.
Inoffensive.
Wait, was this the Raven? Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
7.
5.
Q Synthesizer. This was my favorite track on the whole album. I thought instrumentally it was very good, and vocally it was very, very decent. It was at least something I came away with from this whole album. It was definitely it kept me interested anyway than the previous songs.
Definitely sounds a lot better vocally in this one than all the other ones, I would agree. But it's still just not very interesting in its progressions or instrumentation. Enough for me to really have taken notice of it or write down any notes really on it. But that's a general theme throughout this whole album, so.
Fair enough, I suppose. Michal?
It would appear Michal has passed away.
His mic's not working.
Intermission.
I unplugged my mic.
Okay.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Louis, you should have played a song anytime there's an intermission.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. Intermission.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cut the whole part, please.
No, it's grand. This track, I didn't really care much for it when it came out. I think it was early January, late December. But after listening to this album a few times, it has really grown on me. I think it's lyrically entertaining, and the instrumental's quite great. Especially, I like the almost distant sounding guitar solos. Yeah, I think it was probably my second favorite track on the album. Rating.
I gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 6.
University Hill.
I was not a fan of this track at all. I thought vocally it was very boring and very repetitive. Instrumentally, it was nothing special. It was just okay for the most part. And once again, pretty nondescript song.
Yeah. Just for me, it's just another okay track. Like the instrumental for me isn't very captivating at all.
Because you couldn't have picked more. Like, you couldn't have picked 3 more boring albums for this week, could you? Fucking hell.
Come on. I don't.
This is really bad.
Well,
we'll get to that next time. And, that's
You don't have to spoil it.
I'm not.
I think no. You called out the albums at the start. Yeah, ratings.
6.
5.
4.
Have we met? I didn't rate this.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, this one feels like a interlude. I didn't rate it either, but I did enjoy the guitars in this song.
Yeah, it's just a little synth interlude. Didn't rate it either.
It's fine. It's nothing special. There's nothing else to say.
Okay, move on to the next track.
The Man in Black's Blue.
Vocally, again, it was just okay. Instrumentally, again, it was okay. It's just, and to me, it's just another nondescript track that seems very samey to some of the previous tracks.
Yeah, I think it's a pleasant sounding track, and I do think the instrumental is quite nice. I like how the beat is very laid back. The synths sound very like peaceful and serene. I think it's a nice track overall.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just kind of okay. I have nothing else to say.
Okay. 6.
7.
5.
Full song.
Last track.
It's, again, same as a lot of the other tracks in this album for me. It was just okay, nondescript. Vocally, it was okay. Instrumentally, it was okay. It was pretty average, but it was a alright closer, just to finish out this album.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slow song to finish the album. I think the instrumental was okay. Once again, like more peaceful and serene, and I do like the vocals over this. They're very quiet, but they still sound like very passionate. And overall, I think it's a pretty decent track.
6 minutes of boring, slow crap. I was disinterested. Like about the 15-second mark, I just knew this is going to be dragged out and overtly long. I was looking forward to its end, so I could move on to listen to just something else that would interest my brain a little bit. Probably my least favorite song of the whole album, simply because of its length. Unlike Crimson Tide, which is like 6 minutes 10 in comparison to this song, 5 minutes something. It's just, it feels longer for some reason. I don't know why. I just so disinterested. It's not even funny.
Ratings.
I gave this a 6 again.
I gave it a 6.
3.
Yeah, overall thoughts?
Overall, I thought this album was pretty uninteresting, to say the least. I personally wasn't really a fan of the vocals at all. I thought instrumentally it was played well, but they were just kind of boring. And after the third track, I was disinterested from this album. I didn't feel entertained for the most part. And honestly, I don't know. It's just To me, it's just another nondescript album. I have nothing much else to say. I have nothing else to say.
Louis?
I'm never going to listen to this artist again because if any of his other stuff is as boring as this, there is no point in me listening to this because I was disinterested from start to finish. It's just so painfully average and boring. It's never going to stand out in my mind. I can barely name off any songs top of my head. Like even only if I have notes in front of me, I can remember any of these tracks. It's just so painfully boring, man. And overall, I'm just going to give it a 4. Would not listen to it again.
Oh yeah, Mick, did you give the rating?
Oh, I gave it a 6.
Yeah, professional podcast, man.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yeah.
I have heard some of these guys' other like albums. I don't think this would be among their best for me. Definitely not of the caliber of albums like Kaput. Some of the listeners might be familiar with Destroyer.
Kahoot.
Kahoot, yeah. I think it's a decent album, and the funny part is I think this album is kind of for me carried by the Dan Bejar's performance, the vocals and the lyrics.
What kind of crack are you smoking?
I think the band is far from bad, but the instrumentals like often fail to grip my interest as much as Dan's. Just charisma and lyrics on these tracks just kept me entertained throughout.
It's got the charisma of a fucking stone. Boring stone.
Overall, strong 6.
Transition.
Louis, transition.
Next album, we are going to be talking about Mystic Familiar by Dan Deacon. Wow.
Just fuck off. Let's just get this done because I hate this even more.
Dan Deacon is an electronic producer and composer from Baltimore, Maryland, USA. Mystic Familiar is his 5th solo album, and it's his first in 5 years.
All right, so track 1, Become a Mountain. I thought it was a really good opener. I thought the pianos were pretty weird, but they were actually quite unique, so it kept me intrigued. And the synths were really nice too. I love how the synths were orchestrated on this track.
Yeah, I think this was a really, really good track. I like how it starts with this like bouncy, hectic piano, and then overall, like over the duration of the song, more and more layers slowly get added. I love Deacon's voice on this. It's very soft and almost whispered, but it still manages to stick through the like wall of sound that begins to develop as the track goes on. And the song concludes with this like powerful, like transcending cacophony of noise. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the strongest on the album in an album of shit.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Listen, okay, the vocal mixing is good. I'll give it that. The beginning of the track makes you want to die. I hate the piano on this so fucking much. It just sounds like he's gone on the piano and just gone, right? I don't care for it. It's okay. It's cool. I like the idea that it like builds up in a cacophony of noise, but it's more of a cacophony of autism that makes my ears want to pass away than listen to any more of it. It wasn't a great start for the whole thing. Me not really enjoying the first track, and it just kind of got worse as it went along. So I was just, I don't know. It just gets airier and airier, and so there's no substance at all. It's just boring. If you want me to be honest, I gave it a 2.
I gave it an 8.
9.
I gave it an 8.
Hypnagogic. I didn't rate this.
I did not rate it either. It's just an interlude.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little instrumental and kind of calms the mood after the explosiveness of the previous track.
Yeah. It's a nice like calming synthy track, and I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
Sat by a Tree.
Sat by a Tree. I really like this track. It feels more upbeat. The drums and the synths are orchestrated so well. I love the whole atmosphere of this whole song. And it's just, I'd say it's one of my favorites on the album.
Yeah, I love this track. I like how it begins with these pulsating guitars, and then like the drums come in, and like this hectic drum beat comes in, it kind of bumps up the energy of the track, and then these synths start coming in, and the track just explodes in every direction. And I like the effects on Deacon's vocals. It gives it this kind of unique sound, sort of nasally in a way. And by itself, I think the melody of the vocals alone is really catchy. And just the song overall is easily probably my favorite on the album, I'd say.
The only positive thing I've got to say about this is that, you know, it's kind of energetic. That's cool, I guess. That's about it. I mean, the vocals are way too airy. And as with the other one, there's just a lot of annoying, niggly sounds that just kind of grind at my brain bit by bit as I go through the 4 minutes and 27 seconds of pure, unadulterated boredom. I'm just disinterested and looking forward, you know, to getting through this quickly.
Okay, I gave this a 9.
I gave it a 9.
Give it a 1.
Now
apologetically bored.
Now let's move on to the ARP sequence. This split into
ARP. Radiohead.
This is
in Rainbows.
Stop.
This is split. It's split into 4 segments, and
fucking Radiohead rehab.
Literally. All right. Basically, the first section is the wide-eyed section, and I really loved the pace of this track. I thought the weird warpy synths were great, and the drums were awesome. I really loved the whole vibe of this track, and it's a nice segment in this like whole ARP sequence.
Yeah, I like the drums as well. Very like industrial sounding, and like they have these twinkling like glitchy robotic sounds like cruising along the beat. Once again, it over time builds up and expands like the previous tracks, and then Deacon's vocals come in. They're quite low in the mix, but I think they play more of a role of one of the layers of the song rather than the driving force behind the track, and I think it's a cool sound overall.
The only note I have right here is Aphex Twin's autistic brother makes a synth pop record that is pure garbage. There you go.
Fucking hell.
All right, I gave the wide-eyed section an 8.
8.
1.
All right, second section of the ARP sequence is Float Away. It's a continuation. It has a really nice transition. I thought the synths were orchestrated so well. It's really upbeat, and I really like this track. It's definitely probably my favorite on the album.
Yeah, once again, it's a continuation of the previous track, and I love the energy of this track. It's like almost overwhelming, but in a good way. And I love the kind of hypnagogic, quiet vocals over these hectic instrumentals. I think the sound is really cool. Overall, great piece.
It just sounds like a man with ADHD's made it. I don't like it. There's just too much going on. Yeah, there's the difference between like, oh yeah, high energy and just put big bong noises, boop beep boop. It sounds good. That just kind of, it sounds like that to me.
No one's going to listen to this podcast.
Literally.
Yeah. It's because I'm such a fucking asshole. It pays to be an asshole, dickhead. It does.
We need some contrast. Shit. We do need some contrast.
Well,
to be fair, this is
quite positive. Well,
to be fair, this is what this is about: differing opinions. And you know what, Louis is entertaining. So yeah.
If anyone's listening, they can choose their who they agree with.
All right, Float Away. I gave it a 9.
I give it an 8.
I gave it a 1.
Strong 8.
Strong 1.
Far From Shore. It's a slower continuation from the previous section, and this one is definitely the most grand of each of the sections of this whole ARP sequence, and it's a really decent section. It's not my favorite one, but I appreciate it, and it fits very well.
Yeah, once again, it's a continuation of the previous track, and it still keeps up the same energy, but it still like adds new things to the track to freshen it up. I did really like it.
Sounds like a saxophone is having a stroke at the beginning. I heard that, and I was just like, well, the rest of this is not going to be great, is it? And guess what? It wasn't great.
Okay, then. All right, I gave this one an 8.
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 2.
The final sequence, I did not give it a score because it's short.
It's
I
just
thought it
the
was a
closing
really
to this track. I don't know why it's separate, really.
yeah. It's decent.
Yeah, whatever.
No,
No comment.
No comment. All right, next track, Weeping Birch. I thought the synths are very like string like on this, and it's kind of reminiscent of like a harpsichord. But I love its grand and atmospheric production. It's so nice. It's psychedelic, you could say.
Yeah, I think it's a nice
Ow.
synthy instrumental track to kind of slow down things after the previous like song, which was very grand. But overall a bit forgettable, but still pleasant sounding.
Forgettable, boring. That's about it. That's all I have in my notes. 2 words: forgettable and boring. There, move on. Who cares?
All right, 8.
7.
2.
Next track, Fell into the Ocean. But
yeah, go.
I feel like this is the point where Louis wanted to fall into the ocean after during this album.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're very correct.
Ooh, he loves
All right.
swimming.
Hate.
This track, I loved the vocals on this one. They were really nice. I love how atmospheric they were. The synthy melodies were really nice. They were complemented very well, and I absolutely thought this track was great.
Yeah, I think this track's amazing. The instrumental's more subtle than what we've heard before in this album, but I do really love the performance from Deacon. Overall, very catchy track.
No.
Okay, ratings.
I gave it an 8.
I give it a strong 9.
Strong 1.
Next track, My Friend. Vocally,
not my friend.
Vocally, very, very decent. The synthy atmosphere is so good. It's more or less kind of the same as the previous tracks, but it's definitely one of my favorites on the album, I could say, especially since the vocals were carried heavily on this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this track, once again, builds up over time, like some of the tracks earlier on the album. Follows that same kind of pattern, and yeah, overall a very good track. I wouldn't really say it's a standout for me, but still very good.
Vangelis abortion.
All right, I gave this one a 9.
7.
1.
Final track, Bumblebee Crown King. I thought this was a great ending to the album. That's all I have in my notes.
Yeah, I think it's a great closing track. Good way to close the album. Like, once again, slowly builds up. And the build up, I think, is fantastic on this. And a really good way to send off the album.
7 minutes of just waiting for the album to end.
All right, I gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 1.
All
it
right.
has to be one of my lowest scores of all time. I don't find anything interesting about this. Nothing is like even barely piquing my interest at all. It's just so painfully boring that I would genuinely prefer to listen to the screams of 1,000 people played at the same time at very high volume for 30 minutes.
Not
listen to this.
Like a football crowd or something.
Yeah, just everyone at full volume.
Everyone in Upton Park has megaphones.
Yes, don't remind me. I'm going to start crying if you mention that fucking stadium, please.
Okay.
Well, for me, this is easily my favorite album of the year so far.
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you?
I love. It's just this album is just such a mesmerizing experience to me. I love how Deacon encapsulates his like hushed and quiet vocals in these just chaotic and otherworldly soundscapes. It's just such a journey, in my opinion.
I was very pleased with this album. I absolutely loved how well orchestrated this album was. Dan vocally, I think, is very good on this album. I think it all culminates very well. It's definitely my second favorite album of the year. I love the production. That might be because I'm a bit of a synth whore, but you know, I love it. I love it. I think it's a great album. It was a mesmerizing experience, and it's definitely one of my favorites of the year so far.
Oh yeah, overall, decent to strong 8 for me.
Light to decent 8 for me.
1.
Fuck. Okay.
All right,
Louis,
now.
you'll be glad to know we're going on to Nas.
Yes, good album for once.
All right. First things first. Best
Transition.
favorite release of the week. Favorite release of the
Oh
week.
yeah.
Mystic Familiar.
Mystic Familiar.
And actually, it's horrifying to have to say this, but Green Day. It's so horrible how to say that, but it's
Louis,
that's
say
the problem. I can laugh at it at least.
All right, let's move on and let's talk.
I'm typing.
What are you typing? What are you doing?
You have to say this out loud.
Out loud.
Yeah.
Or
you're out.
Green Day is my favorite album this week.
Yay! All right, now let's move on to the classic
That's
one
a
I've
Green
been
Day drum
so
beat.
excited to review. We're going to be talking. Yes, we are going to be talking about Illmatic by Nas.
Yes. Good ending.
Nas, one of the most influential rappers of the 90s, and probably one of the most influential rappers of all time. Was this his debut album?
Yeah, debut.
Yes.
Debut, and let's just jump into it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Well, we should say he's from Queens, New York, so he's East Side.
Also, can we just say, he made this when he was like 19.
Yeah, 19.
Yes.
Right, let's get into it.
As me. Ooh, fuck. What have I done?
All right,
All I
opening
played
is...
was this fucking mess of a
The
podcast.
Genesis.
It's a classic intro. It's definitely one of the more iconic album intros of the 90s. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, that being said, I didn't rate it.
Same.
Hello? I rated it a 9, lads. Come on.
Bro.
It's great. The sampling on this is it's very, very well done. The mixing is good for something that came from 1994. I mean, Jesus. You have to give it credit where credit is due, even with the intro track.
If you want us to talk about the songs, no one cares what we in-depth analysis of the opening.
This podcast is about differing opinions, and if you don't like my opinion, then you are wrong.
This podcast is sponsored by Tidal.
No. All right, first track, New York State of Mind.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
In my opinion, this is the best rap song of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
You are okay. I can see
it. It's definitely one of the best of the 90s. I would go as far as to say.
I could see why you'd say that. Like, it is an incredibly good song.
All right. I love the DJ Premier production. It's sinister. I love, it's a sinister piano-driven boom bap beat. It's so good. The lyrics are about, Nas's state of mind, you could say. And Nas was great on this track. Technically, he was amazing. Lyrically, he was very good. He fitted the vibe well. And I absolutely... And the Scarface reference is classic, so this is a great track.
Yeah, the beat on this is fucking incredible.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ. It's just like everything on this track came together. Like, it's 5 minutes of Nas just spitting rap history. These are some of the best rap performances, rap verses I've ever heard. Like, I can't name many more of this caliber. Just an iconic, timeless classic.
His flow is incredibly strong. The drum sample they used and the beat is just... It's mesmerizing and energetic and really suits his vocals to a T. I particularly enjoy the piano as well. I think that's a nice touch and definitely cements the sound of the whole
classic
album.
DJ Premier.
I'll read out one of my notes word for word. The piano keys add a really nice touch.
I mean, that's DJ Premier in general. I would go as far as DJ Premier's, it's one of his best beats.
Yeah,
I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right, ratings for this track. It's a fucking 10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
I think that might be the first time we've all given. It is a classic.
No,
it's cheating.
Right, for classic albums, yeah.
Oh no, wait, no.
Because on Radiohead, we were very much agreeing on a lot of things.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of we weren't reviewing individual tracks, but I know I think we gave one of the Smiths. We surely give There Is a Light and Never Goes Out 10 or something.
Okay, moving on. Life's a bitch, and then Fucking iconic as hell. AZ's verse was great. The hook is iconic as hell. Nas was great, talking about his upbringing. I love the beat, it's low key, great boom bap. There is a great trumpet outro as well. It's just iconic as hell. And the chorus for this was sampled so much like throughout the years as well.
Easily one of the most like famous rap choruses of all time.
Easily.
Just incredible performances from Nas, from the features. Amazing instrumental. I feel it's a lot more bright than the previous one.
Absolutely love the bass on this track in the background as well. It's just sampling again, fantastic. The chorus, iconic. Been sampled millions of times, as with a lot of tracks on this album. Sampled millions of times. It's just, it's a masterpiece.
It is. So is this song. I gave it a 10.
I gave it a 10.
It also got a 10 from me. Again, lads, very samey today.
Come on.
We
can be aligned throughout this whole.
Next track, The World Is Yours.
Oh, it's so good.
I love this track so much. It's definitely one of Nas's most memorable and catchy songs he's ever written.
The world is definitely yours.
Yes, literally. It is mine.
Mine.
Whose world is this?
Mine.
All right. Okay.
Nas's verse was great. His flow was on point. His technical ability was great. I love the beat. I love the like jazzy, like lo-fi boom bap aesthetic. It's so good. It's definitely the catchiest on the album, in my opinion. I would say.
Definitely.
Possibly, yeah.
The production quality on this as well is fantastic.
Like literally, for something that came out in '94.
Yeah. And this is an artist that at the time, hadn't even released anything. Nobody knew who he was, and then he just comes out with this incredibly well-produced, intense rap album. And it's still remembered today as one of the most iconic rap albums of all time.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah.
Ratings?
10.
10?
Okay, come on, we can get through this.
All right, halftime. This one again. I really like the kind of what's that? The Christmassy bell thing.
It up.
Jingle bells.
This is my favorite Christmas song.
Yeah, and the horns, and the horns. The horns were so good on the chorus as well. I absolutely loved it. And Nas
was wild when I blasted this at the Christmas table, man.
And no question, Nas was amazing on this.
Yeah, I love the instrumental on this. It's very nostalgic sounding. The trumpet samples mixed with this beautiful vocal sample. Holy shit, the beat is amazing. And once again, it's hard to comment individually on Nas's performances on these songs because throughout every song they're just incredible. Anything to add, Louis? Oh God, Louis fucking died.
Oh, sorry. My mic was on mute, so I was talking to myself there for a good 10 seconds. I'm just saying that, yeah, I agree. On every single track on this album, his vocals are fantastic, and his lyricism is intense, his flows are great, and, this track is no fucking different. I mean, come on.
Are we
10?
Yeah, 10. Okay, good.
10, boys. 10.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Houston.
Memory Lane.
Sitting in the park. I'm very white.
Very much so. DJ Premier's production, again, he came through with a really nice beat. Nas, again, complements it very well with a really good and descriptive verse about his adolescence. Which tends, reflecting on the title, Memory Lane. He's basically going back on his adolescence, and it's a great track. There's nothing you could really say about it. It's so good. It's definitely such a good track.
It's such an amazing instrumental, the soft piano kind of sample sounds amazing. Once again, Nas doesn't have a weak performance on this album at all.
It's not a piano, it's an organ.
Organ.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
It's still
it's DJ Premier, so it's automatically pianos.
Yes.
And the samples on the hook are iconic as well.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to add, really. It's fantastic. And a 10 again.
10.
Okay,
lads, we're getting through this fairly well.
Now,
most
next track.
underrated Nas song.
Yes,
on this
the most.
album.
No, I would go as far as say it's one of the most underrated hip hop songs of all
easily.
time.
I
One
wouldn't say
love,
that.
one
Instrumental on this track is incredible. Holy shit.
Q-Tip's production was on point
It's
on
the
this
beat-
song.
Oh yeah.
Kind of unsettling, but in like a really pretty way, and just amazing performance from Nas and an equally great hook from Q-Tip.
The hook is so iconic.
Holy
It
shit,
actually makes
yeah.
it makes you feel so good. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's my second favorite. I think tied for
It's-
second favorite. for
It's
me.
my second favorite on the album too, but this track lyrically it's definitely very strong. I think
Mhm.
the track is basically about Nas like reading letters that he wrote to his friends who were incarcerated, and it's a really good track. It lyrically it's very structured well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Definitely say I wouldn't say it's xylophone sounding, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah, I didn't know
kinda
what to say,
bonky-
but I did.
yeah, xylophone bonky thing in the background reminds me of childhood. Is what I put down in the notes.
Your child
It's like,
growing up in
yeah.
Queens.
I was just sending letters to my incarcerated friends when I'm like 9 years old. Hell yeah!
It's
No,
a
but
10.
You know, the sound of that kind of instrument it's kind of nostalgic. You have to say. Which I mean, you know, it's kind of what he's going for in this because he's talking about his past and you know having to email his friends in prison.
Email.
Yeah.
Send fax.
Yes,
Send me facts. But yeah,
Right, is
10.
are we all at 10 here?
10.
One time for your mind.
The hook.
Oh fuck! Wrong one. Shit. Oh, okay. You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that.
Is that your friend sending you a fax from prison?
Let's go. Next one.
The hook is so good on this track. It actually
Yeah.
gets referenced so much in hip hop as well throughout the years. Nas's verse was great. The beat was low key. It's really good. Fucking loved it.
Yeah, once again, incredible instrumental. A great performance
the
from
slow-
Nas. Once again, incredibly catchy hook.
I like the slower pace of this one as well.
Mm.
He gets a lot more time to be a lot more articulate with his words. It sounds really good.
If I had to choose the least favorite from the album, though, and I'm saying least favorite, not worst, it would be this probably.
Pitchforks are coming out.
Anyways, that being said, it's still a 10.
It is still a 10. But I would agree with Mihao on that one. Represent.
My favorite on the whole album. Can't even lie.
But you know what? You know what, Louis? I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Whoa.
This one is definitely the most hype track on the album, you could say, especially with the group chanting at the beginning.
Chanting is so like, dude, you can almost hear like the frosted, like you know what I mean.
Like,
you can hear
this is Plum Fairy. You're thinking about how it sounds a bit like the Sugar Plum Fairy. Which
this song is basically Nas at his most raw. This could be like a raw studio session. The beat is absolutely great. It feels so sweet yet really eerie. Like I love it so much.
Yeah, just beautiful instrumental.
Very beautiful. I still don't know what the fuck instrument they're using to make that sound, but it's so good.
They're using the beat.
Magical.
Is it a 10?
It is a 10.
Yamaha piano.
Okay.
10.
All right, one more track to go. It ain't hard.
Oh,
this is my tied for second. This is my second favorite song.
I think this is an amazing outro to close this great album. Nas's flow, his energy, and his technical skill was on point, like it was throughout the whole album. The beat is iconic as hell,
yeah,
and there's so much going on in this instrumental as well. Like the sections where it just cuts Nas rapping and onto like this little section of like whatever sampling is going on.
Some sort of vocal sample, yeah.
Yeah, it's going on. So there's so much going on. It's amazing. I love this track.
This is probably my favorite instrumental, along with New York State of Mind. It sounds so cool. The vocal sample sounds beautiful. And once again, Nas does not slow down at all. He's still full force.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is this a wait, Louis?
10.
Comments.
10.
Okay.
10. I
10.
have no other comments to make, man. Come on.
10?
10, isn't it?
10. Absolute
Okay.
fucking 10.
Holy shit! So everyone is aligned. All 10.
This everyone agrees. This is the
100.
first album on the podcast to get a perfect score from every
Whoa.
single participant.
Is so stupid. I love it.
Right, so thoughts and opinions on Illmatic. I think this is one of the greatest rap albums of all time. It is certainly the greatest rap album of the 90s. I think
Yeah.
it's so iconic for its time. Instrumentally, it was very different in the 90s, especially with how layered the production was. Nas himself, he proved himself to be one of the brightest new faces at the time and would go on to attain legend status. And especially for this album, I could definitely go as far as to say it's definitely my top 5 favorite albums of all time, if not top 3 greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah, I'd probably put her in my top 10 as well. At the age of 19, Nas literally changed music history with this album.
Yeah.
This is the defining album of 90s hip hop, East Coast hip hop as a whole. It's just an incredible album filled with just beautifully crafted instrumentals, just his powerful and thoughtful lyrics, just in-your-face flows that never once slow down.
It defined the East Coast sound.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is just
really
one of
did.
those rare moments in music where everything just comes together.
Aligned.
Yeah, everything just comes together so well. And look, it's been almost, I can't count, 20 years.
Almost.
Since
About
this came-
25
almost
years.
30. I mean, almost 30 since this came out, and we're still
25
talking
years.
about it as if it's the best thing around. It's gonna be talked about for decades to come. This is a masterpiece.
You know what's sad is that Nas never really lived up to
Yeah.
it was written was
he
a good
did.
album, but the rest of the albums in his career were kind of meh.
Yeah.
I don't think he had to. He made this. He could have called it quits after this and still have been a legend.
Yeah.
I
He
think
still
that's-
is a legend.
I would definitely say it's 100% the best rap album of the 90s.
I will agree.
100%.
I
It's
agree
up
too.
there
Say
with.
all time.
I wouldn't say that now, but it's definitely for rap, anyways. Yeah, it's up there with The Predator. In terms of from 90s albums, The Predator by Ice Cube is up there with this in terms of how fucking incredibly
I will
good
also
it is.
shout out Wu-Tang there.
Shout out Wu-Tang.
They're okay.
And a Tribe Called Quest. But
And a Tribe
they
Called
don't live
Quest.
up to this. It doesn't.
No.
It's not. It's this.
All right, so perfect score album
Perfect
from
scores, yeah.
from the Cassette
That's-
Tapes podcast.
Unheard of. You've seen it once.
And
Never
this
gonna
might
happen
be the
again.
last time.
Yeah, enjoy it, savor it.
So, well, we'll be recording again in 2 days. You
Yes.
guys won't necessarily.
Which albums
hear
are we
from us
doing?
again.
Meow, tell us
Oh
now.
god, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I'll cheer you up at the end. Okay,
Okay.
we're doing Justin Bieber's Changes. Tame Impala, The Slow Wave.
Slow Rush.
So,
Rush,
wait.
is it?
It's the Slow Rush.
All right, I got mixed
Yeah,
up. What's
man.
The Slow Wave? That's another title.
What? Is it?
It's
It
the
is, it
the
definitely
Slow
is.
Rush. I literally have it on vinyl in front of me. It's called the Slow
You
Rush.
have it
It is.
on
I'm
vinyl
not
already.
arguing.
Yes,
Hello?
I literally
arguing.
bought it last
I'm
Friday.
not arguing.
You look at the slow wave and it comes
okay,
up Forever
I'm
Young,
not
Slow Russian by
fucking
Bob
arguing.
Dylan.
The third new album is Spanish love songs, Brave Faces Everyone. That's the name. And the
Okay.
classic is Massive Attack Mezzanine.
Yes. Good.
All right.
Good. Mezzanine,
All right.
yes.
All right. Thank you so much for
Oh,
checking
no.
out today's episode of the Taped podcast. Who do you agree with the most? If
Me.
Oh yeah,
If necessary links
that's
are in the
optimistic.
necessary links are in the description, and yeah, bye.
Bye.
Outro time.
Wait, play a song.
What?
Play a song.
for everyone.
Break Leaf General.